Hello, my name is Casey Ryan, and this is my instructional design presentation on student organizational skills. This is winter session 2016, Wilmington University, my instructional design class. The performance context. Currently I teach at William Penn High School located in Newcastle, Delaware, where I teach high school juniors and seniors. I teach their third credit and final credit, science credit, that they will earn at William Penn. In the state of Delaware, you need 3 years of science. Students have the option to take chemistry or take Science 3 and Environmental Science, which are both half-year courses. I currently teach 2 resource classes, and that's who I wrote my instructional design plan for. Resource classes, if you're not familiar, all the students in the class have both a math and an English IEP, and the students in the class need a lot of extra support. If they're in my science resource class, they are also most likely going to be in the math and English resource classes. Overview of my instructional design plan. My instructional goal was for students will be able to write down assignments and due dates in an agenda book or a safe place where they can easily access it. The students that I work with have a lot of trouble with organizational skills, and this is something that I want to address with those students and help them get better at. My overview continued. Some of the needs that I identified with my plan included that students are not proficient at meeting deadlines, for example, turning in homework, project, and lab reports. Also, students must learn to organize materials. In my classes, students typically do not come to class prepared. They don't have folders, and they don't really understand the importance of being organized. Third, I want to develop a strategy to help them remember when something is due. Fourth, I want them to be prepared for class. Typically, I give them what I have in the class, whatever they need, but I want to get away from that. I want students to be more prepared and more responsible for their own learning. And lastly, with the overview, I want to address the needs of students' organizational needs that is found in many of my students' IEPs. The rationale of my design plan includes that my goal addresses critical organizational skills that are necessary for high school students. If you're going to be successful in high school and beyond, you have to be able to be organized, you have to be able to access materials quickly, you have to be able to meet deadlines. Next, I wanted students to be able to meet their assignment deadlines. Third, I want to give students an incentive to perform wanted behaviors. What I'm trying to teach my students is that if they work hard, they will be rewarded. So one of the pieces, and most critical pieces of my instructional design plan is that I have incentives within the plan, and then when students perform well, they achieve those incentives. Things like certain prizes, candy. If students all achieve a certain grade at the end of the marking period, we have a pizza party or an ice cream party. So things like that, just to get them excited to be in the class and want to do their work. Next, the goal needed in order to be prepared for future college and career readiness choices. And then finally, by mastering these skills, students will possess skills necessary in order to attain future gainful employment. Alright, so it's all about getting students ready to go to college or go into their next career. The kids in my resource class will struggle if they're going to go to college, but I never shut them down. I always say, hey, if you want to go to college, you got to work hard. And doing well in this class and all your other classes is where that hard working process starts. Instructional strategies. So here's a couple of things that I would use within my plan that would help my students in order to increase their organizational skills and be able to write down their assignments and keep it in a safe place. So the first thing would be cues, which is the teacher can prompt students to recall and use what they have learned already, and can be both verbal and nonverbal. Cues are a great teaching tool. All teachers use it. It's very important. Next is direct instruction. My students need a lot of direct instruction. That means the content that is structured, sequenced, and led by teachers. They need me up there telling them what to do. And within those small resource setting classes, I'm able to provide that one-on-one time that they wouldn't get in a regular ed setting. A couple more instructional strategies that I like to use that apply to my instructional design plan The use of graphic organizers. Graphic organizers are visual displays that depict relationships between ideas within a learning task. So I definitely use these to help my students stay organized within the class, whether it's with their notes or writing down their assignments and their agendas. Next, student self-assessment. Within my plan, the students are expected to survey themselves and understand where their progress is, what they have to do to and assess themselves, where they have to see needs of improvement. So student self-assessments are the student used to assess their own progress and performance. And over here I have a picture of how I feel about my work today. This is kind of a grade level student self-assessment, but maybe something that I tend to use once in a while. Alright, assessments. Overview of assessments. Assessments were derived from a range of sources. Most assessments will be designed by the instructor and based off of current special education organizational resources. PLC time, or professional learning community time, also will be used in order to ensure teacher collaboration in the development of quality resources. So with my instructional design plan, we want to collaborate and we want to get all teacher input. My assessment list included student surveys, rubrics to chart students' progress that I can fill out quickly within the class, incentives that I talked about earlier, teacher reports, which is just an analysis that would occur at the end of each marking period, and then finally a daily check-in list. Similar to the rubric, but just a quick thing I can score so the students get instant feedback whether or not they perform their organizational skills tasks. Methods. Was the plan successful? Yes, I've had great success with this plan within my classroom. Continuing with methods, why was it successful? The plan was able to show students that with hard work they will be rewarded. Alright, and that was provided with my incentives, which I talked about in an earlier slide. The plan was also able to get students to attain organizational skills in addition to invaluable college and career readiness skills. And then finally, skills are necessary in order to increase student achievement within the classroom. So when my students realize that they're going to get an incentive for achieving this organizational skill, that also increased their achievement within the room. They wanted to participate more, they wanted to perform more, and perform better. Methods. What methods did I use with my plan? So students' motivation is a definite factor when it comes to organizational skills at the high school level. So I had to figure out a way to motivate my students, and one of the big ways I did it through was with incentives. Next, in this setting, the students that I teach, there is a definite lack of organizational skills resulting from a range of factors that are both in and out of the instructor's hands. So when my students come into the room, sometimes I can the factors are things I can control, sometimes I can't. So I got to make the best with what I got. Next, it is important for the instructor to show how attaining the skill will lead to both future and academic career achievement. And then finally, student motivation to do well is an important factor when attempting to make any changes to their current habits. Just to reflect really quick. So what have I learned from carrying out this instructional design process? After completing the project, I was able to break down and really analyze something that I would not typically have the time to do. So I was glad to look at organizational skills. It's been something that's been kind of eating at me a little bit in the past few years, so I was very glad to get to look at it. And then also in the future, I'll plan on using my instructional design template when I deem necessary for other items, whether it's a lesson plan or another organizational skill. And then just to finish up, this was my instructional design presentation. It was on student skills, organizational skills. My name is Casey Ryan. It's the winner 2016, and thank you for listening.